Hello guys, how are we all doing? Welcome back to Championship Predictions. This is the final video of 2023 and this is obviously predicting the EFL Championship games on New Year's Day 2024. I just want to start off by saying a massive thank you for your support this year in the videos. You guys have really made this channel a success. This is a dream of a job and it genuinely wouldn't be possible without your support, and there is more to come in 2024. Obviously you'll have noticed that Sophie is not with me today. She will be back for the next video in 2024. She is going away for New Year's, so she isn't able to make this, but I have still got her predictions. Before we get into the predictions themselves, guys, for the New Year's Day fixtures, just make sure to hit that thumbs up button. Let's go for a nice round target of 1,000 likes. Hit that thumbs up button if you haven't already. It is free to do. It takes 2 seconds to drop a thumbs up and it would be massively appreciated, and it really does support my video. While you're there, make sure you are subscribed. If you've not already hit the subscribe button, go on. You can be the final subscriber of 2023 to the Matt SB channel, and honestly it makes a world of difference, you guys hitting that subscribe button. It's free to do and you'll see our videos when they go out. The scores in the last set of championship predictions was that I just beat Sophie 7-6, which means I have just about extended my lead even further in the overall championship predictions. Can I keep it that way? Let's see. We are going to kick things off at the Stadium of Light for Sunderland versus Preston North End. An interesting matchup, this one. This does remind me of the final day of last season when Sunderland had to beat Preston to wrap up their playoff place. They did win 3-0. They have already played this season at Deepdale as well, where Preston actually beat them 2-1. Both Sunderland and Preston have been involved in the EFL Championship playoff race so far this season. They could still both make it. They both did play bottom 3 opposition last time out, and Preston lost at home to Sheffield Wednesday 1-0 after beating Leeds United 2-1 in the game before. That's the championship for you, isn't it? As for Sunderland, it was a 1-1 draw at Rotherham last time. Not a bad set of results on the road there for Beale at the wheel. After a win at Hull City just before that, 4 points on the road before they come back to the Stadium of Light. This game could go either way, I'm not going to lie. I'm not really 100% sure about this one. For some reason, I don't think it'll be a draw. I'm going to go for the home team. I do think Sunderland are starting to settle a little bit under Beale, and I'm going to back the Black Cats to win 2-0. Sophie is also going for a Sunderland win. She's not going for the exact same scoreline. 1-0 to the Black Cats for Sophie. We are both going for Sunderland to beat Preston. Do share your thoughts on that game at the Stadium of Light. Next up, we head to Ewood Park, where we've got Blackburn Rovers versus Rotherham United. Rotherham have picked up a couple of decent results recently, with the win over Middlesbrough followed up with a draw against Sunderland. They take on Blackburn, who have been losing a fair bit recently. They are capable of winning as well, of course. They just don't tend to draw many, so I don't think this will be a draw, despite Rotherham obviously drawing their most recent game. Rotherham, although they've been improving, they are always a bit better at home, and I can see Blackburn going back to winning ways here with them being the home team. I think it'll be close though, and I think both teams will score. I'm going to go Blackburn Rovers 2, Rotherham United 1. I do think Blackburn will get back on track. They've got Sammy Smodics, who's still the top scorer in the division. As for Sophie, she's going for a 0-0 draw. She does think it'll be a draw. Sophie is giving Rotherham a little bit more credit than I am by backing them to get a point on the road. Do share your predictions for Blackburn Rovers versus Rotherham United. We've gone differently on that one. Share your thoughts down below. Next up, we head to Bristol City versus Millwall, two sides that have been pretty impressive recently. Bristol City, of course, they're in the Championship playoff race. They did only manage a 0-0 at Birmingham last time out, despite me and Sophie both backing them to win on the road. They didn't lose, of course, and it's a point in the right direction, but I did think they might win that one. They're back at home now, but they're up against Millwall, who, despite being in the bottom half, have put a couple of decent results together, albeit they've both been at the Den, and Millwall for me haven't been as good away from home recently. But I still think they're improving, and I'm going to give them a bit of credit. I'm actually going to sit on the fence for this one. Bristol City 1, Millwall 1. Whichever way this game goes, I do think it will be tight. I can't see one team really turning over the other massively. Sophie's actually going to double me up on this one. She's predicted Bristol City 1, Millwall 1. We're both sitting on the fence for that one. I do make Bristol City slight favourites with their league position and the home advantage, but Millwall have been improving. Share your thoughts on that game at Ashton Gate. Next up then, and we are off to Ellen Road, where Leeds United take on Birmingham City. Boy, how Leeds United will be glad to be back at home. They are just not as good away from home, are they? Despite being unbeaten at home and being in the promotion race, they just can't keep up with the others when they're away from home. It's back back-to-back away defeats over Christmas time for Leeds United, having lost at Preston North End and now West Bromwich Albion. They are at home to Birmingham City here, and this is really a nice fixture for Leeds United to get back on track. Birmingham, I'll give them a bit of credit for getting a point at home to Bristol City, but it does really show where they've got to when I think that's a decent result for where they are right now. They do need their next win pretty soon, but I definitely don't see it coming in this one. It is the Championship, and it would be typical for Birmingham to get a result here, but no, I'm going to go for Leeds United to win this game by 3-1. I'll give Birmingham a goal, but I just think Leeds United are too strong when they are at home. Sophie's also going to go for Leeds United, but not as strong as me. Leeds United 2, Birmingham City 1 is Sophie's prediction for this one. Do share your thoughts on Leeds United versus Birmingham City down in the comments. Do Leeds United continue their impressive home unbeaten run? Next up then, and we are off to the King Power, where top of the table Leicester City are really stretching their legs. They take on Huddersfield Town here, and Huddersfield have been alright recently. Huddersfield of course got that brilliant 3-0 home win against Blackburn Rovers and just fell short, losing 2-1 to Middlesbrough in the final minutes in their most recent game. I just can't back Huddersfield to get something here. I'm not really backing anyone against Leicester at the moment. Leicester are just so strong and they are really stretching their legs at the top, as I say, with Ipswich Town wobbling a little bit, Leeds United wobbling a little bit. The next best team based on form is probably Southampton, but even they are quite a way off Leicester City. I'm going to go for Leicester City reasonably comfortable here. Huddersfield are no mugs, so I don't think it'll get too ugly, but I'm going to go for a 2-0 win to Leicester. Sophie's going a bit stronger than me. Sophie's going 3-0 Leicester, as Leicester continue to push to break some records this season in the Championship. One thing I will mention with Leicester City as we head towards January is we have got the Africa Cup of Nations coming up, and that will affect a couple of Leicester City's players, but even then their squad is just so strong. I think Leicester City are winning the league. I'm saying that every week, to be honest. Let's move on to the Riverside next, where Middlesbrough take on Coventry City. This ground brings back happy memories of May last year. Of course, Coventry City won their last game at the Riverside, which was in the playoff semi-finals, which was the first time we've won at the Riverside ever. As for this game, I'm finding it quite hard to call, to be honest. Middlesbrough are a strong team, of course, and under Michael Carrick I do think they're going to be pushing for the playoffs. I'm saying that almost every week. They are obviously suffering with injuries, but still finding a way to pull out some good results. It was a 2-1 win against Huddersfield Town last time. Coventry City are now 6 unbeaten, but we really did drop points against Swansea City, with Swansea City's free kick equaliser coming in the 93rd minute. As for this one, do you know what? I do think Coventry will get something, because we have had a decent record against Middlesbrough recently. But at the same time, Middlesbrough have got to be fired up for this. They're a strong team. They're a strong team at home. And I'm going to go down the middle, actually. I'm going to go for Middlesbrough 1, Coventry 1, which wouldn't be a bad result for either. But if Hull City and West Brom continue to win, then both sides will fall a little bit further off the playoffs. When it comes to separating Middlesbrough and Coventry, I really don't think there's a lot between us. I think we've both probably got an equal chance of getting into the Championship playoffs this season. As for Sophie's prediction, she's doubling me up. She's going for Middlesbrough 1, Coventry City 1. Sophie did say that she'd have been tempted to go for Coventry City if we had got the result over the line against Swansea City, but she just thinks Middlesbrough might be able to take a point out of us like Swansea City did. We're both going for a 1-1 draw at the Riverside. Share your predictions for Middlesbrough versus Coventry City. Let's go to Carrow Road next, where we've got Norwich City versus Southampton. And maybe a couple of weeks ago I'd have struggled to separate these two, as they've both been performing pretty well, but there is certainly one team in better form than the other, and that is Southampton, who are now looking like the best threat to Ipswich Town, with Leeds United faltering in their last couple of games. Southampton just keep churning out the results. They seem to bounce between smashing teams and then sometimes just getting the 3 points over the line. At the end of the day, 3 points is the most important thing. And do I think they'll win this one? Yes, I could see Norwich making it close, and I wouldn't be entirely surprised if it's a draw. Norwich have lost their last couple games though, so I do think Southampton come into this in more confidence and certainly as the favourites. I'm going to go Norwich 1, Southampton 2. I do think it'll be close, to be honest. Norwich are a good team and I still think they've got a decent chance of making the playoffs, but Southampton are really starting to close that gap on Ipswich Town, and they could actually jump into the top 2 if results go their way on New Year's Day. As for Sophie, she's going for a 2-0 win to Southampton. She does think it'll be a little bit more comfortable for the Saints. Share your thoughts on Norwich City versus Southampton. Next up, we head to Home Park, where Plymouth Argyle take on Watford. This is a fascinating match, and once again I'm struggling to separate these two. For Plymouth Argyle, Watford away was one of those few games this season where they have got something on the road. They did get a 0-0 draw at Vicarage Road. Their most recent game was a defeat on the road, 2-1 to Southampton at St Mary's, which isn't a terrible result. We've just said how Southampton are flying at the moment. Plymouth, I'm sure, will get their first away win soon, but this game is at home, and I do think they might just be able to sneak this. Make no mistakes about it, Watford have been good over the last couple months, but their last couple results haven't been totally convincing. They'll want to go back to winning ways here, but I just think Plymouth Argyle might sneak it, actually. I'm going to go Plymouth 2, Watford 1. I do think the home side might just pinch this. Sophie, again, is doubling me up. Sophie is going for Plymouth Argyle 2, Watford 1. Make sure to share your thoughts on that game at Home Park. Plymouth Argyle, I do think they're going to stay up this season, but they do need to churn on a couple more wins sooner rather than later, just in case that bottom three start to push up the table. As for Watford, they're certainly still in contention for the Championship playoffs. I just think Plymouth win this one, and so does Sophie. Next up then, and we are in West London for Queen's Park Rangers versus Cardiff City. Both of these sides took on top opposition last time out on Friday. Queen's Park Rangers managed to get a 0-0 draw away at Ipswich Town, which is a very impressive result. As for Cardiff City, they fell to a 2-0 defeat at home to Leicester. I don't really want to look into that too much because Leicester are beating everyone, so it'd be a bit unfair to criticise Cardiff. What I will say though is their form has petered out. They certainly started the season stronger than where they are right now. But the big picture is it's been a massive turnaround in 2023 for Cardiff, because at times towards the end of last season they were looking at just getting over the line, whereas now they've been in the top half for most of this season. As for this game though, I think I'm actually going to just lean towards the home side. As I say, with Cardiff City's form being a little bit inconsistent and QPR being on a bit of a high after a good 0-0 away at second place Ipswich Town, I might just go for QPR. As I'd said, under Cifuentes they had been improving. I didn't think they'd actually get anything at Ipswich, and now that they have, I feel like I've got to go for them to get a win at home to Cardiff. I'm going to go QPR 2, Cardiff City 1. I just think QPR will get a crucial 3 points, which will make things very interesting in the Championship relegation battle. As for Sophie, she's actually going for the opposite of me. She's going for Cardiff City to go back to winning ways in a 1-0 win away at QPR. Either way, we do think this game will be close. I'm going for QPR. Sophie is backing Cardiff City. Share your thoughts. Next up then, and we head to Stoke City versus Ipswich Town. This is a really interesting game now, especially where Ipswich Town are concerned. Let's start off with Stoke City. It's been a couple of decent results really. I do feel like Stoke City are starting to push in the right direction now, whereas before they were kind of floating near the bottom three. I never really thought they'd go down, but they didn't really seem to have any direction, whereas now they're starting to climb up the Championship ladder. As for Ipswich Town, it's now 4 games without a win in the Championship. The first 3 were tricky games on paper. Yes, they really could have beat Norwich City with the chances they had. Leeds United, of course, we've spoke about how they smashed them. The 1-1 draw against Leicester City with the late goal, I suppose, is a positive result for Ipswich, but the 0-0 at home to QPR is not a great result. Not trying to take too much away from QPR, but for where Ipswich Town are in the table, you need to win those games. And with Southampton looking a bit more consistent, Ipswich Town fans are starting to look over their shoulders. Weirdly enough, despite Ipswich not winning in form, still feeling tempted to back them to win, just because on the whole they've been very impressive this season. But Stoke City have proved over the last couple of weeks they are no mugs, and they will know what to expect from Ipswich Town, with Schumacher having been against them quite a few times over the last couple of years, with him being the Plymouth manager whilst Ipswich were in League One with McKenna as well. Gonna sit on the fence here. Stoke 1, Ipswich 1. I don't think Ipswich Town will lose this, and I do think they could pinch it, but Stoke, as I say, have been improving. So sitting on the fence, and Sophie is doubling me up actually. Stoke 1, Ipswich 1 is Sophie's prediction as well. Share your thoughts, guys. I'm really conflicted on that one. Ipswich Town have certainly got a lot about them this season, and I still think they've got such a strong chance of getting that top 2 because of the head start they've built themselves up. But 4 games without a win, will it become 5? Share your thoughts down in the comments. Next up then, and we go to South Wales, where Swansea City take on the Baggies, West Bromwich Albion. West Brom are flying, man. Honestly, they're picking up some great results. And in the last 2 games, West Brom have faced some top opposition in Leeds United and Norwich City. I did back them to beat Leeds United, so I'm not totally surprised by that. And honestly, if West Brom continue this form under Corberan, I think they could even catch Leeds United because of Leeds United faltering, which would really open up the playoffs a bit more, where it looked like before the top 4 were kind of locked off and it looked like 5th and 6th were up for grabs. West Brom are starting to push towards the top 4, and I could see them winning this. They're up against Swansea, who obviously still haven't got a manager at the time of recording this. I did see them against Coventry City. Do make sure to check out that vlog. I thought they were okay, to be honest. Swansea City had their moments. Yeah, I think they'll be very happy with the draw against Coventry. And as I said in my post-match thoughts, they're kind of looking for that new manager to give them some kind of direction, because at the moment, I think they'll probably finish mid-table. But with the right manager, you could maybe see them pushing for the top 6, which is what they did in the latter stages of last season. As for my prediction, Swansea are a stubborn opposition. Could they nick a point off West Brom? Oh, West Brom are so good. Do you know what? I'll give Swansea a draw again. I'll go Swansea 1, West Brom 1, which is interesting because Sophie has gone Swansea 0, West Brom 1. She thinks West Brom will just pinch it, whereas I'm going to go for a draw. So we have gone slightly different on that one. Do you guys think West Brom will win? Do you think it'll be a draw? Or could you see Swansea City winning? Share your thoughts on that game at the Liberty. The final game then is at Hillsborough, and how about this for a cracker? Sheffield Wednesday versus Hull City. I have really enjoyed watching both of these two this season. I suppose in the first half of the season, Sheffield Wednesday weren't much fun to watch, but I mean recently, they've certainly been improving, and great result at Preston. That 1-0 win has certainly boosted their chances of staying up again. And if they can get something here, they'll continue to push in the right direction. Honestly, Sheffield Wednesday have got a chance, but they're up against Hull City, and Hull City have got so much to play for as well. They are in 6th place. They need to keep churning out the results because there's so many teams below them that are trying to pull them out of the top 6. I think this will be close, to be honest. Sheffield Wednesday have certainly improved. Hull City are going to take thousands away to Hillsborough, and I think it could be a really, really interesting game with a great atmosphere. 2 good sets of fans, and as I say, 2 teams I've really enjoyed watching this season. I just think because Hull City are playing for the playoffs, they need to be that bit more consistent than Sheffield Wednesday, who are just trying to stay up, which they still need results to do. But maybe you can make an argument that Hull City need the result more. I don't know, actually. Sheffield Wednesday need the result pretty desperately as well. I'm just going to edge the Tigers. I do think Hull City will win. Maybe that away following might make the difference. Wednesday 1, Hull City 2. They just keep winning, don't they, Hull City? As for Sophie, she's going slightly different. She does think Wednesday will muster up a point. She's gone for a 1-1 draw in this game at Hillsborough. Share your thoughts. Honestly, I've been backing Sheffield Wednesday a fair bit recently, so I wouldn't be surprised if they get something because they have impressed me. But Hull City are looking like the real deal to make the Championship playoffs this season, so who knows? Anything could happen. So then that does in fact wrap up our Championship predictions for the New Year's Day games in the EFL Championship. As I say, share your Championship predictions down below. 12 really fascinating games there. And of course, Sophie will be back in the next video. Do make sure to show some support, guys. As I say, 1,000 likes would be massively appreciated. It is free to drop a thumbs up. And I just want to say a massive thank you for your support this year again. While you are there, once again, if you haven't already hit the subscribe button, make sure to do so. It is free to get involved by hitting the subscribe button, so go on, click that button down below. And once again, a massive thank you from me for your support. Have a very happy new year, and I will see you on New Year's Day. Take care, peace out.